Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The political discourse today is all about name-calling for the opposition, mainly the Congress party. It seems that it is on a spree to select and fire salvos from its hate playbook to target the Prime Minister and the government at the centre. And this is not a trend that has gripped the opposition just recently. This culture of resorting to diatribe started right from 2014. But cut to 2022, the atmosphere before and after the Gujarat elections is filled with abuse and invectives. Listen in to this to get an idea of what I'm talking about.
अरे ऐसे बात कह के अगर आप सिंपैथी जमाने की कोशिश करें तो लोग अब होशियार हो गए, उतने बेवकूफ नहीं है। एक बात चलती है, एक बार अगर झूठ बोलेंगे लोग सुन लेंगे, दो बार भी बोलेंगे तो भी सुन लेंगे। कितने बार झूठ बोलेंगे? झूठ पर झूठ, ये झूठों के सरदार है।
अब भाई तुम्हारे को तुम्हारी सूरत कितनी बार देखना, कारपोरेशन में भी तुम्हारी सूरत देखना, एमएलए इलेक्शन भी तुम्हारी सूरत देखना। कितने है भाई? क्या आपके रावण के जैसा 100 मुख है? क्या है?
सदन में जो बॉर्डर इश्यू है, चाइना आज जो आक्रमण कर रहा है, उसके बारे में हम चर्चा चाहते हैं, दूसरा कुछ नहीं। लेकिन वो चर्चा के लिए तैयार नहीं है। बाहर तो शेर के जैसा बात करते हैं, लेकिन उनका जो चलना है वो सिर्फ आप देखेंगे तो चूहे के जैसा है। राजीव गांधी जी अपने जान दिए इस देश के एकता के लिए, हमारे पार्टी के नेताओं ने जान दिया। तुम क्या किए? आपके घर में कोई देश के लिए कुत्ता तो मरा है?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, from Jhuto ka Sardar to Ravan to Chuha and the dog analogy, the Congress has left no stone unturned to target the head of this country with vile terms. And he's not just our Prime Minister. He's everybody's Prime Minister in this country. He's not just the BJP's Prime Minister. The attack was made from a platform where Mr. Rahul Gandhi was sitting right next to Mr. Kharge. So much for नफरत के बाजार में मैं प्यार की दुकान खोल रहा हूं, which is the message that was being sent from the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the temple of democracy where issues related to you and me should be discussed, where Chinese aggression must be discussed, has now turned into a war zone. Chaos descended once again in Parliament after Kharge's remark. Battery of ministers demanded an apology from the leader of opposition, Mr. Kharge, and said that the Italian Congress, with a rubber stamp president, has just lost the plot. Listen in.
I cannot believe that Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress president, can stoop so low and use this kind of very objectionable remarks. It is very distasteful for the political leaders to use such language.
आजादी के बाद गांधी जी ने कहा था कांग्रेस पार्टी को ही वाइंड अप कर देना चाहिए। खरगे जी उसका जीता जागता प्रतीक है और दिखा रहे हैं देश को शायद गांधी जी ने सत्य कहा था। और ऐसे अध्यक्ष एक पार्टी के जिनको भाषण देना नहीं है, उन्होंने माफी मांगनी चाहिए और वो माफी नहीं मांगे तब तक उनको यहाँ पे रहने का कोई अधिकार।
जो कुछ भाषा मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे जी ने प्रयोग की है वो घोर निंदनीय है, और कहीं न कहीं जिस प्रकार के शब्द का प्रयोग किया है ये उस शब्द के समकक्ष उनकी मानसिकता का प्रतीक है। और ये कहना कि सारी की सारी स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन का श्रेय सिर्फ उन्हीं का है।
माने आप कुत्ता कह रहे हो शहीदों को? मुझे आश्चर्य होता है कि इतना सीनियर लीडर इस तरह की बात कर रहा है।
मैं घोर निंदा करता हूं। आई स्ट्रांगली कंडेम दिस कांग्रेस इज नॉट ए ओरिजिनल कांग्रेस, इट इज ए इटालियन कांग्रेस लेड बाय सम अदर पीपल। तो ये नकली कांग्रेस है, नकली नेता लोग हैं। देख रबर स्टैंप का अध्यक्ष ऐसे बोलते हैं तो ये हम स्ट्रांगली कंडेम करते हैं।
The Congress on the other side has said that the BJP cannot hold this holier than thou attitude, and so goes on the fight between the two sides. And that brings me to the legitimate question tonight. Who's lowering the political discourse and where are the real issues? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side. Gali politics over Tawang. That's the hashtag and the debate coming up.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate tonight, Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Ravi Srivastava, political analyst, supports the Aam Aadmi Party, Vivek Srivastava, political analyst. But my first question goes to Mr. Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress Party. And Mr. Lokesh Jindal, I want to ask you, एक तरफ आप कह रहे हैं हमारे सिपाही पिट गए, हमारे जवान पिट गए, और दूसरी तरफ आप अपने आप को देशभक्त कह रहे हैं, that you stand with the army, you stand in national security issues with the armed forces. How hypocritical is this stand of the Congress Party, apart of course from the abuses that you make towards the Prime Minister? It seems that you are more upset with the Prime Minister and he's your real enemy rather than China.
The Prime Minister, he had the Chinese counterpart invited in Ahmedabad in 2014, following which he visited Xi'an in 2015. And this Prime Minister is the only Prime Minister who has made 9 visits to the China. And with the Chinese counterpart, he had 9 meetings. And now after this, there are the most number of incursions happening during this particular Prime Minister's period. We had the Doklam, then we had the Ladakh issue, and now we are seeing what is happening in Tawang. The point is, despite all this, we are having the largest trade relation with China. उनके हाथ में बंदूक है, हमारे पास संदूक. मतलब we are providing them trade and commerce, and they are aggressing, they are threatening us. What form of policy is this? I mean, the government is caught off guard without any form of a policy initiative. Now, this particular Prime Minister who used to thump himself, claiming that he's going to get back Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, but when it comes to China, he has no policy. He's even scared of taking the name of China. Now, we are not questioning him. What we are saying is, let there be a discussion. Let the nation know what exactly is the situation happening in Arunachal Pradesh. Let the government not act like a child who's scared from telling everything to his mother.
Fair point. Fair point, Lokesh Jindal. You are asking for a discussion, but do you think a discussion will happen when you're calling names like Kutta, Billi, Chua, Hamare Jawan pit rahe hain? You think that is the atmosphere you're creating for a discussion and for questions being raised? I'm asking you. And if you're talking about the Prime Minister inviting Xi Jinping, and being in Ahmedabad in 2014, then questions can be raised about Mao Zedong and Jawaharlal Nehru, before the 1962 war, when Nehru Saab said Hindi Chini bhai bhai. So GVL Narasimha Rao, while the Congress Party is actually crossing the line in its language used for the Prime Minister, do you think calling the Congress Party the Italian Congress will actually bring down tempers and bring back some amount of civility in the discourse? I'm asking you this question because somewhere or the other, if there are questions that the opposition is raising, and they have the right to do so, should the government be cooling down tempers, taking them into confidence, holding an all-party meeting? Or should you be responding by calling them the Italian Congress?
Good evening to you and all the panelists and the viewers, Navika. Let's see who is really lowering the discourse. Look at the manner in which Rahul Gandhi is insulting the armed forces. How we have seen on videos how Indian forces, how the Indian army, their jawans, how they are actually literally pushing PLA back into their territory, how they are being beaten for their transgression into Indian territory. Such is the valor which is on display. But Rahul Gandhi wants to, and Congress party wants to create a fake narrative to suit their political agenda. And I'm not even sure if this is only political agenda and is there more to it, because the Congress party has never been transparent about its relations with or its discussions with China. What was Rahul Gandhi doing with Chinese ambassador? There are no answers forthcoming from the Congress party. What was this? Why did they have to sign an MOU in 2008 when they were in power in Delhi? Why did they have to take money from Chinese embassy? Why aren't they giving any convincing answers? What was Rahul Gandhi doing at Doklam controversy, meeting Chinese ambassador secretly and lying to the country that they have not met? Same is the story when he went to Kailash Mansarovar in 2018. What discussions did he have?
So are you saying,
Mr.
GVL Narasimha Rao, that you do not trust the Congress party and therefore you do not want to discuss at least the issue of China with them? Do you expect them to leak information? Is that the fear that the government has?
No, honestly, it's no longer a fear, Navika. People of this country have no trust and confidence in the Congress party for the manner in which they question our forces at every point of time. They call the army chief a street thug. They question surgical strikes. They ask for proof, video proof. Even when they got proof, they did not apologize to the forces or to the country. They questioned airstrike in Balakot. At every time.
Fair point. Look at your track record, Lokesh Jindal-ji. Look at your track record, Lokesh Jindal-ji. Doklam, Rahul Gandhi's secret meeting with the ambassador, completely denied by Mr. Randeep Surjewala at that point in time. Later, a picture comes out. Lokesh Jindal, you do not inspire any confidence, plain and simple fact, by the BJP.
No, Navika, it's a very serious accusation right now. The BJP has the government with itself, the investigation agencies with itself. You please undertake an investigation. You are actually accusing us of sedition, of anti-national activities. Now, this is a very serious charge. We will not accept this. I mean, on a national television, how can you make such a loose comment? I mean, your party should take action against this. If you are making such a loose accusation, you please have the entire investigation agency with yourself. You have the enforcement agency with yourself. Please take the action. Why this dereliction of duty? When you are making such accusation, you are acting like you are in the opposition.
But Lokesh Jindal-ji, the Congress party has not given any details of these meetings, and that is something that we've been waiting for a long time. But let me get in Mr. Ravi Srivastava as well. Mr. Ravi Srivastava, let me tell you that a French publication, Asialist and researcher Oliver Gillard says, and this is a piece that appeared on 17 December, and he says, from the Himalayas right up to Taiwan, China is trying to create border controversies with many states, many countries. That's only to distract attention away from the internal mess within China, especially with the rising cases of COVID and the public outcry against Xi Jinping there. Not just that, China's paper, Hong Kong's paper, South China Morning Post says that in the line of actual control with India, the soldiers posted there are suffering from fear and anxiety. So you won't believe what the army has said. You won't believe what the Chinese newspapers are saying. You will not even believe what the French publications are saying. You will not believe the Prime Minister. So why do you want a discussion? Why do you want a debate in Parliament? There is no trust between the two sides.
Navika, China has got a border with 14 countries, out of which with 12, they have got an agreement for the line of control. Only 2 countries do not have that agreement. That is, one is India, the other is Bhutan. Now, my question is whether they are suffering from COVID, whether their GDP is going down to 2.7, whether the hospitals are full, whether the people are losing their life, that does not matter to us at this stage. My question here is, why Prime Minister is submitting so weakly before China? The whole BJP keep shouting against Pakistan to the top of their voice. They keep on agitating on roads everywhere, but they never utter a word against China. Why? They have got a $7 billion trade deficit with China. They will never say, no, SBR, we keep on importing from them the chappal, the chashma, the clothes, all kind of sundry things. I will pay double price if it is made in India available. Why should I not? Why there should not be a boycott of the China altogether for the trade? Yes. Why the shipping after Galwan, Mr. Modi has met in thrice, how many times? Thrice, 4 times, 5 times, whatever it is. How many times did we discuss with him Galwan? Where our 20 soldiers lost their precious life. Everybody respects the bravery of the valor of our army men, but BJP should not hide behind that. They should come out with the fact. 9th, these skirmishes happened in Tawang, and 13th, the Raksha Mantri is giving a statement. These are 4 days for the holidays between. There is no holiday for the nation's security. He has to come out instantly. The whole world is watching. The whole India is watching what is happening to our soldiers. And as the BJP MP says that our 20 soldiers suffered serious injuries out of sick were admitted in the Guwahati hospital. Why the government is not telling a truth that we have lost? Every time they say 1 inch land has not been given to China. Alright, go there, snatch their 1 foot land. We have lost thousands of kilometers of land to China already. Go there, say it. Our people, our army generals have said, let the politicians order it, we'll go and capture the POK.
But
why can't you
tonight, Ravi Srivastava ji, you are very, very angry. But when details were given about the surgical strikes, किसने कहा था? Proof किसने मांगा था? आज आपको बड़ा गुस्सा आ रहा है. आज आनंद रंगनाथन आप हंस रहे हैं. इतने सीरियस मुद्दे पे आप हंस रहे हैं क्योंकि ये आज जो इतने आग बबूले हो रहे हैं, ये तो आर्मी की बात मानते ही नहीं है. इन्हें डिस्कशन क्यों चाहिए?
इनके लिए नेशनल सिक्योरिटी हंसने का विषय है. हंसने दीजिए इनको. मैं सीरियस मुद्दे पे बात कर रहा हूं.
Ravi Srivastava ji, Anand Ranganathan, your turn.
No, and Navika, I was sniggering, not quite laughing, sniggering at you exposing the rampant hypocrisy of Ravi ji. So I'm absolutely not laughing on a very serious matter. But before I, have the chance of saying a couple of points that I would like to contribute to this, may I please request, because the moment history is tantamount to this, that the moment I start talking about Chinese dragon, there is a Chipkali on your panel who starts interrupting me immediately. So the moment the Chipkali starts interrupting me, please.
I'm sorry, आप चूहे बिल्ली कुत्ते तक ही रहने दे. आप छिपकलियां बीच में मत लाएं. आप किसको कह रहे हैं मुझे पता नहीं. I don't know, and I will not. This is not a platform. Maybe this language is used by senior political leaders, but I don't quite support this language. So I'm lowering all faders. Anand Ranganathan, make your point.
Thank you. And in fact, Navika, I also never support such language, and I am absolutely appalled by Mr. Kharge's language of chuha and sher. And by the way, just who is a lion and who a mouse became clear when after Pulwama, Modi attacked terror camps deep in Pakistan. And Manmohan Singh, in the wake of 26/11, refused to listen to his own air chief to strike Pakistan and his terror camps there. So who knows? And, Mr. Rao was talking of MOU, who knows? Perhaps calling for the breakup of Ladakh was an obligation on part of the Congress in that MOU that it signed with the Communist Party of China back in 2008. And only Mr. Lokesh Jindal knows the secrets of those MOU, and he is refusing to disclose it to the common public. It's been 14 years. No one knows except Mr. Lokesh Jindal what was in that MOU. So, Navika, let us be very serious about this. If we want an informed discussion, because the fact of the matter is, right from the time when Dr. Ambedkar resigned from the Congress in 1951, warning that under Jawaharlal Nehru, India was being made to fight China's battle, was championing China's cause, and that its quixotic and suicidal foreign policy would lead to the, quote, ruination of India, unquote. To the Congress presiding over the loss of Aksai Chin but being nonchalant about it, saying, even sniggering, not a blade of grass grows there. To it maintaining silence to this day on China occupying 640 square kilometers of eastern Ladakh during the UPA. as disclosed by UPA's own Foreign Secretary Shyam Saran, to zipping its lips when between 2009 and 2013, China made nearly 600 incursions into the Indian side, including on June 17, 2013, when the Chinese transgressed deep into Chumar, an incursion the UPA, believe it or not, did not disclose for 3 weeks for fear of public anger, forcing cancellation of the defense minister visit to China, to remaining silent even as our trade deficit with China, that was 1.2014. India and China were one nation. It is only when Modi took over the reins he began to draw the border and shoring up the infrastructure, building roads and bridges. Horrible thing to do. Why should there be a border between India and China when we have a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese that India should break up into 1,000 pieces? The Modi must resign.
Absolutely. And Vivek Srivastava, opposition has the right to ask questions. But the opposition cannot stoop to a low where it starts abusing our jawans, our soldiers. Those soldiers who are standing at the border to protect you and me.
Exactly.
Those soldiers who are standing there prepared to take a bullet on their chest so that you and I can live in peace. And when the leader of the largest political party in the opposition begins to use words like, "Arey wo to pite hain," what does it show? Does it show seriousness of asking questions, or does it show just a peeved political leader who just cannot digest the fact that there is somebody else in the seat of power? That's question number one. And question number two, the question is very simple. There are facts of history, there are incursions, and there is an LAC where Indian soldiers have pushed the Chinese back, exactly how it happened in Galwan as well. Why are we questioning the valor of our soldiers? I mean, you can question the valor or the efficacy of the government, but why target the soldiers?
Navika, 5 seconds. Question number 3. Add kar do main ek. Vivek ji, please, with your permission.
See,
only with
Navika,
your permission.
firstly, in this country, नहीं सर,
दो क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा नहीं. तीसरा क्वेश्चन आप जिंदल साहब से पूछिएगा.
I mean, your Nehru bashing.
नहीं, मुझे अपने कांग्रेस से पूछना है.
नहीं, आप नहीं पूछ सकते हैं मुझसे, लेकिन I mean, apart from Nehru bashing, नहीं सर सुनिए.
Okay, 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Question तो सुन लीजिए on popular demand. Yes, question Anand Ranganathan.
Yes, विवेक जी, thank you very much. मैं आपकी बहुत इज्जत करता हूँ और कम्युनिस्ट की भी बहुत इज्जत करता हूँ. सवाल एकदम सिंपल है. Is it not a fact that your own comrade and ex-chief minister of Kerala, Mr. Achyutanandan, said on record that when he defied the communists who had declared that we will not set up blood donation camps in the wake of 1962 war, Achyutanandan was demoted.
नहीं कुछ नहीं, बड़ा पुराना है आपका
during the 1962 war with China.
Now let me answer.
Okay, all right.
Now see, Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
Answer the question,
with due
Vivek.
respect, now let me speak. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, आप जैसे इंटेलेक्चुअल आदमी से, अरे सर सुनिए तो पहले. I am answering it, sir. I am answering all your questions. First of all, even a common man like me has more expectations in IQ and questions from you. A debate after debate, you do not grow over Aksai Chin and over 1962 blood donation camp.
Navika.
Today the topic of debate was something very different. Okay, but you started with Nehru bashing. You were accusing the founding father of this nation, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was in jail for
I'm
more
sorry,
than 16
Vivek Srivastava ji, allow me to come in. Today's topic of debate started with the statement of Mallikarjun Kharge ji, and he said, आप कांग्रेस से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं. कांग्रेस ने तो फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल तो 1947 है, तो it predates 1962 question that Anand Ranganathan raised, number 1, and he says आपके यहाँ तो कुत्ता भी नहीं बना. मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ, भगत सिंह के लिए आप ये भाषा इस्तेमाल करेंगे?
नहीं, आप सुनिए, अब आप सुनिए जी. जी नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे. तो Bhagat Singh was a comrade. Bhagat Singh was a socialist. HSRA's association was a communist organization. The last book he was reading before he was hanged was Lenin. So, I mean, I don't want to go into that debate. Let us talk of Kharge today. Kharge Sahab, what he has said is that in the freedom struggle of this nation, the Congress contributed. He talked of Congress. I will talk of the comrades also. I'll talk of the Krantikaris also. But the RSS and Govalkarji and the entire Hinduvadi brigade said that the real enemy of the nation is not the British, but the Muslims. That is the traitors. This is the gang of traitors. Today they may be in power. Today maybe the Prime Minister belongs to the same organization, the RSS, but there was not a blood, a drop of blood was not shed by these people. And if Kharge ji is trying to point it out, your statement
is being contested. Your statement is being contested by Anand Ranganathan. Ranganathan responding to you. Anand.
Yes, Navika, I cannot allow him to speak lies on television. I will disclose about how communists collaborated with the British to leak information about INN Subhash Bose, but that is for later. Let me first demolish his propaganda that RSS
Give me the name of one freedom fighter from RSS.
Vivek Srivastava, now will you allow him to complete his point? You can rebut him after that. You can rebut him after that. Anand, complete your point.
Okay.
Yes, दूध मांगोगे, खीर देंगे, कश्मीर मांगोगे, चीर देंगे. मैं एक नहीं 4 नाम देता हूं. दादा नायक चिमूर, रामदास रामपुरे, संत तुकोजी महाराज, हेमू कलानी. Now apologize.
Please.
Apologize now.
ये ऐसे नहीं है ये कोई नाम. ये दो stop your फर्जीवाड़ा here. Okay, as a policy, the RSS said we need a cultural revolution, and the British are not a challenge to the country's cultural revolution. It is the Muslims who are the challenge, and the real enemy of the nation is the Muslims. These are the sort of
1 minute, Mr. Vivek Srivastava. 1 minute, Mr. Vivek Srivastava. Let's not create another partition in this country. We've had one too many. We've had one too many, and at that time passions were running high. After all, it was on religious identity that the country was divided. What was said then cannot be repeated today. So let's just leave that conversation out of the debate tonight.
He should apologize first.
Agreed.
He asked for one name, I gave him 4.
Well,
apologize.
Vivek Srivastava is not going to apologize.
Navika,
they've not apologized for 1962 and their role in that. They've not apologized for anything. So let's forget apologies. My question tonight is just this. And Lokesh Jindal, please answer this. The question tonight is, I'm coming to you, GBL Narasimha Rao, because Lokesh Jindal's response will definitely have your hackles rising, so you'll respond to him. Lokesh Jindal, आपकी दुश्मनी है किससे? जवानों से, मोदी जी से, या चाइना से?
Navika, in 2022, the army, it presented a demand of around 2 lakh crores of requirement, but the government only sanctioned 1,50,000 crores. Despite the army facing hostility across the borders, why was capital expenditure demand reduced by 63,000 crores? Secondly,
says the spokesperson of the party, says the leader of the party, which bought no weapons, nothing, because there was a policy paralysis and decision paralysis. GBL Narasimha Rao, ये क्या कह रहे हैं लोकेश जिंदल जी? इनकी सरकार में तो कोई डिसीजन ही नहीं हुआ था.
The entire infrastructure, whether it is defense, whether it is on all fronts, was made by us. Tell me one thing that was built by you.
The Congress spokespersons and those who come to defend Congress are so ashamed of Rahul Gandhi. I find him ashamed of Rahul Gandhi. Otherwise, why is he not supporting Rahul Gandhi's statement? Our forces are being beaten.
Rahul Gandhi ji stated that the policy has not beaten.
No, at the Talwang border.
हम पिट गए बॉर्डर पर.
2014 में आपने अहमदाबाद में बुलाया, 2015 में आप जियान गए।
मैं आपको बता देती हूँ, I am stopping you right here, Lokesh Jindal. Nobody can get away with lies on this channel. I am quoting verbatim Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and he said, quote unquote, हिंदुस्तान की सरकार सोई हुई है और चीन युद्ध की तैयारी कर रहा है। चीन ने हमारे 2000 किलोमीटर स्क्वायर को कब्जा कर लिया है और हमारे जवानों को पीट रहे हैं, जवानों को पीट रहे हैं। लोकेश जिंदल, लेट देयर बी नो एम्बिग्विटी, जवानों को पीट रहे हैं, कोई पॉलिसी को नहीं पीटा, जवानों को पीट रहे हैं चीन वाले, जबकि जवानों ने अपने शौर्य से सारे चाइनीज सोल्जर्स को खदेड़ दिया। दिस इज व्हाट राहुल गांधी हैज टू से। लोकेश जिंदल, should Mr. Rahul Gandhi apologize for his statement? Should he or should he not?
No. Navika, this is not fair. I mean, if you read the entire context within which he stated,
there is no context. I want to. What is the context? हमारे जवानों को पीट रहे हैं. What is the context? रवि श्रीवास्तव जी, कोई एम्बिग्विटी है इसमें? हमारे जवानों को पीट रहे हैं. इसका what is the meaning of this line? हमारे जवानों को पीट रहे हैं, क्योंकि लोकेश जिंदल cannot understand this. Please tell him, what does it mean?
I don't know. This is not a, you cannot translate it literally like that. What he says is that they are attacking our soldiers. They are attacking our soldiers. And what they have done, they have already martyred 20 soldiers in 2020 June. जब हमारे प्रधानमंत्री बोले ना कोई घुसा है ना कोई घुस आया है और हम फिंगर 8 तक पेट्रोलिंग करते थे, आज हम फिंगर 3 के आगे नहीं जाते।
आनंद रंगनाथन, now Hindi translated to English, पीट रहे हैं का मतलब होता ही नहीं है कि पीट रहे हैं. That is the Hindi translation to English. Anand Ranganathan, all other faders down.
थैंक यू नाविका. आप जानती है मैं तमिलियन हूं, लेकिन फिर भी मेरी हिंदी इतनी तो कम से कम स्ट्रांग है कि मैं ये समझ जाऊं कि राहुल गांधी जब कह रहे हैं पिटाई, इट हैज टू बी कंडेम्ड बाय एवरीवन, एंड आई एम सो हैप्पी. I was at least 2 days ago when Tehseen unequivocally condemned his remark. I wonder why Lokesh isn't. Does Lokesh want something that Tehseen has? I mean, this is unacceptable. Even Ravi ji has said that what Rahul Gandhi said is condemnable. If I heard him right, there is a difference between saying pit rahe hain and injured. Because in an equal fight, when our soldiers are giving as good as they are getting, they can be injured, sure. But to say कि उनकी पिटाई हुई है is humiliating ourselves, is embarrassing.
Lokesh Jindal, from the Prime Minister being called all sorts of names, and it's not like Mr. Kharge has a problem with the Hindi language. है अगर problem तो भाई दूसरी language बोल लो, कोई problem नहीं है. Don't get into the muhavras if you do not know the language. But to use this language to talk about Ravan, to talk about औकात दिखा देंगे, to talk about Hatya, it is a serial attack on the Prime Minister Lokesh Jindal, and nobody has a word to say in the leadership of the Congress party because the leadership itself uses such language.
Look, Navika, the government is theirs. They are free to take action. In fact, I was the one who appealed that the leader who stated Hatya kar denge, he should be taken, arrest must be taken.
So what action against Rahul Gandhi? And what action against Mr. Kharge? What action against Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Kharge?
India beats Pakistan and it is translated into Bharat ne Pakistan ko peeta. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? You want to infer that?
Oh, come on. Lokesh Jindal, either you think people on this panel have an IQ of 0 or negative, or you don't have a defense. GVL Narasimha Rao.
विवेक भी हंस रहा है.
No, Navika, either let him say that he is so embarrassed about statement of Rahul Gandhi, or let Jindal also defend his statement. Why is he fighting shy of commenting on this? I think Rahul Gandhi is not only the verbatim translation of what he said. Even if you have heard him speak on this, his indignation for the Indian armed forces is evident.
No, sir.
His statement itself showed the utter lack of respect and sensitivity for the armed forces, only for the sake of his tukde politics. I think there is always politics to do, but why blame the armed forces?
That is the question.
Humiliate
And on national security, as Anand Ranganathan pointed out, we know what happened after 26/11. So, kaun chuha hai, kaun sher? I think this country definitely knows. But the question is that those who are demanding a debate in Parliament, do they not have the responsibility of creating an atmosphere for it? And not just that. Where is the trust between the two sides? Where is the opposition even believing Chinese newspapers who put out information? Have they even given any iota of credence to the statement made by the army? Have they given any credence to the statement made by the defense minister? If they are not going to listen to any of this or believe any of this, then why do they want a debate? Just because they can pull the government down and create an atmosphere where in the psychological warfare, and that's the area where warfares are happening these days on social media, on words that are put out in debates, etc., we all know it, where the battle really happens. Do we want to give our enemy countries an edge? That too from a responsible opposition within, responsible in inverted commas, within the country? It's a question that people of this country are asking tonight. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on debate number 1.